Hello, it's Big Chads, and this is the Trading Encyclopedia Daily Education series with my YouTube at Chads Trading. Find me on Twitter at Big Chads and Bitcoin Live, where I am a founding analyst. For today's lesson, we're going to talk about the head and shoulders, both top and bottom, but with different neck baselines. Here's a falling neckline. Here's a more traditional horizontal neckline. We're going to refer to the statistics by Bulkowski, who looked at the falling, flat, and rising, and we're going to talk about that. So, for example, a head and shoulders top, a bearish reversal. You can pause and read this on your own, right? So imagine, if you will, imagine you have a price advance, okay, and you set your left shoulder, you set your head. Now, what's this right shoulder doing? So, according to the stats, the best performing is going to have a falling neckline. So you have a little bit of a falling neckline. Here's your left shoulder. Your right shoulder is lower than your left shoulder, as opposed to a more traditional one, head, shoulder, head, even height on the shoulders, and flat neck baseline. You can even have a rising neckline. Let's draw that and see what that might look like. You have the price advancing, shoulder. Here's your head. Let's do it a little bit again. Shoulder. Here's your head. And then even maybe a shoulder here. And now you're drawing this. Technically still valid to be a head and shoulders. But here's the problem. Breakout, retest, breakout, retest. And it talks about here with the head and shoulders top, the rising neckline still valid, but you're going to get false breakouts and retests. But the best performing is going to be the downsloping, right? So in this example here, you have a downsloping neck baseline, right? Why is that the case? Well, the bears are doing more damage. The bulls set their peak here. They tried to advance again, maybe a little bit lower. Let's clean it up and do a better example of the downsloping. Shoulder, head, and then maybe much even weaker shoulder. So here's your shoulder. The right shoulder is even weaker, and you get your downsloping neck baseline. This shows the bears are already doing damage, more weakness. So you think about the idea of like a double bottom with a higher low, right, versus a double bottom with a lower low. This is stronger, more inherent bullish momentum. So you think about this as a more bearish variety of a head and shoulders than a flat neck baseline, because bulls were not even able to defend this level, and they weren't even able to make it as high as the first one, right? On the second shoulder, it's a lower shoulder. And the same is true in the inverse. If you have a move down, shoulder, let's look at a really a more bullish one. Let's say you have shoulder, you have head, and then your right shoulder may be up here. Right there, and then now you have a rising neck baseline. Look at this right shoulder. It's higher than the left shoulder. Of course, volume is important. Most volume, slightly less, even less. Now here in this case, where you have the right shoulder forming higher than the left shoulder, it forms this rising neck baseline. We go here to head and shoulders bullish reversal and a rising upsloping head and shoulders reversal inverse has the best performance. You get throwbacks too, and of course you're gonna have throwbacks when you trigger on a diagonal line, of course, versus a horizontal line. But the idea, the concept is that shoulder, head, shoulder, and you're looking at where the shoulders are. Here it's a higher shoulder, so there's more bullish force, there's more bullish power. Okay, and if you're trying to do a reversal head and shoulders, you have shoulder, head, and then maybe let's do it like this. Shoulder, head, and then maybe shoulder down here. You might be in a bit of trouble. You might be in a bit of trouble, even though it's technically a head and shoulders. Bears are doing damage. They couldn't even mount, they couldn't even hold at that level, which should have been some type of a support. It's a lower, it's a lower right shoulder than the left shoulder here, and you break out and continue all the way down, and that's no good. So there are differences in the head and shoulder pattern with how the neck base lines form. This one worked out pretty well, but you would have liked to have seen a higher right shoulder and a rising neck base to have even more confidence in this reversal. So here's just a specific video on the head and shoulders top and bottom with a different performance of neck base lines, falling, horizontal, and up sloping. And this is for the Trading Encyclopedia Daily Education series on my YouTube at Chads Trading. Find me on Twitter at Big Chads and Bitcoin Live, where I'm a founding analyst. Thank you, folks, and I'll talk to you soon. Big Chads out.